Good morning, everybody. I'm Thad Weimer. I'm here with Klymer Ridge Farm. Just inviting you along today to do some of the morning chores. Gonna feed the piglets real quick. We've got 7 fairly new Berkshire piglets. Gonna give them some food scraps and a little bit of grower feed. Get them starting to train them on the electric fence. Either later today or tomorrow. There's a chance of rain later today, so we might do that later. But just inviting you along for the journey here. We've slowly been learning how to farm. We're first generation. It's been a journey so far, but our goal, we bought this property a few years ago, and it was a completely vacant piece of land. It used to be a dairy farm years and years ago, and we bought it with a dream of just a place to raise our family. Some of our friends joined us, and it's turned into a farm. I mean, slowly we're developing a farm now. I always wanted some cattle, some livestock. We had some goats when we first started out here, but honestly, with the COVID stuff, when that hit last year, it kind of hit me that it couldn't hurt either way to go ahead and get some livestock, get some beef out here. We have deer roaming the property, so we wouldn't have starved, but just to start raising our own beef. We had chickens, so we had eggs, but then that also pushed us into, okay, well, let's raise some broilers. So we raised 90 broilers recently. We have 120 on the way. They'll be here next week. So we're going to do that again and offer that to the community. And now we've got these little guys also. So now we got these little guys. They're a little shy still, but they're getting used to it. This is just kind of their temporary pen for the moment. But these are a Berkshire and some sort of cross. We're not really exactly sure, sort of a barnyard mix. But they love food scraps, as you can see. They learn that pretty quick. But this is kind of just their temporary, this is going to be the piglet training lot. It's not huge. We got some wood chips down. These wood chips were in piles, and they've loved just scratching through it, nosing around, rooting around in it. There's a ton of oak trees right here where we're at. I've taken a few of them out just to get away from our new building that we're putting up. But they've been scratching up all the old acorns that were under that first layer of soil here. The crazy part is this area, this wooded area, is probably the best, well, it is the best soil that we have on our entire property. We're on about 145 acres here total, and there was very little, I think 14 acres that was actually cleared. It was old cropland, and really all of the topsoil is just washed away over the years. It's a lot of clay. We're in central North Carolina, so it's just that hard packed clay. So we haven't had a great option for really growing good forage and grass for our cattle, but we're getting there. This is going to be a silvo pasture is the goal. That's basically a wooded pasture. At the most, you want to be 50% shade, 50% sunlight. Ideally, if you can get to 30% sunlight. But this area, when we started and bought the property, you couldn't even walk through here more than 5 feet without having to dodge a tree or a sapling. It was neglected and completely overgrown. You You can see we've had our cows up here some, putting some hay out, letting them spread some nutrients for us, and just pushing some seed down into the ground. But it looks like that over there, where you can't see more than 50 feet into those woods right now. This whole property basically looks like that. And so it's been a lot of work just clearing this out, but I've had to slow myself down a little and get to where we're at just doing a section. So right now this is it's going to be about 100 yards wide, and it's about 600 yards long when you get to the very end. And our cattle right now are actually on the very far end up there. They're way up there. It opens up a little bit, and I'd already cleared that area. So we've got hay bales unrolled up there right now, and they're enjoying that. It's a high spot, so it's been kind of a drier location for them lately. We've had tons of rain, but yeah, so it's slowly getting there. My vision is this is going to be some nice lush green grass here pretty soon. And here shortly we'll also start running the piglets through. As they get bigger and trained on that single strand of electric wire, that will make them much more mobile, and we'll be able to move them around in a sequence to not destroy the ground. That's what the stereotype is for pigs, that when you move them around and put them on a field, that they're just going to destroy the field, and they will if you leave them there too long. The secret to that recipe is just the right amount of disturbance. You want them to kill the bad stuff and wake up the good stuff, and they'll do it if you don't leave them there too long. They're basically a natural tiller, and that's how they were created. That's what they were made to do. You can go check out Joel Salatin's The Pigness of the Pig, and he'll explain it all. That's where I'm getting a lot of my info from, like many others. And yeah, that's what they're made to do. So I'm excited to see this time next year what this area will really look like. And then as the grass starts to come up through, this would be a winter stockpile area for our cattle. We'd move them up here throughout the winter, just for extra forage and less hay, because we don't enjoy buying hay, but it is necessary. And that lovely little sound you hear is our little barn cat. That's Fred. Funny thing about Fred is we thought Fred was a boy, and Fred is actually a girl, so it's Freddie girl, or Frida, our kids call her sometimes. But yeah, where'd she go? There she is. So that's Fred. She's hungry. I'm gonna go feed her now. Piglets have food and water. Gonna feed Fred real quick, and then we'll check out our chickens, our laying hens right now. Gonna get the brooder finished up, prepping that later, and then you can take a look at our cattle also. I have to put her food in here, because otherwise these little hens right here will come eat all of her food. They free range right now. We just ordered some Premier One poultry netting. They're not going to love that, but I'm tired of our eggs being scattered all over the place. So you do what you have to do, right? All right, I'm back. So now, walking up, I'm going to check on our Great Pyrenees, give them some food. Right now, they're kind of bored, I think. We had a small herd. We had about 20, I think, at one time, of Nigerian dwarfs, and they did a good job guarding those. But at the end of the day, the goats, they were kind of just not what we were looking for. They did a good job early on. They kind of kept a lot of the brush down when I was clearing, but overall they were just really a pain to keep fenced in. and they just weren't really a huge benefit for us. They are for a lot of people. We weren't into milking the goats and stuff, so we recently got rid of those, and the next thing on the list, we're gonna get a few sheep. They'll play a role in just going behind our cattle. They'll help clean up. They'll eat some of the stuff that the cattle don't like. So we're hoping it'll be a win-win. It'll give our LGDs something to do, because right now they just wrestle around with each other all the time. So that it will give them something to protect. Sheep will be another source of income down the road. We will have some breeders. We'll have some ewes and a ram is the plan, and we'll raise them for meat. We'll do that, and it'll be a productive thing to run behind the cattle and help bring these pastures back to life. All right, so there are the guard dogs. That's Zeus up front. Oh, where'd you go, buddy? Then there's Minnie right there. And then Layla, that's the mama. She's ready to pounce. So, one time we had a couple of litters of Pyrenees. Minnie was the runt from the very first litter they ever had. So she's super sweet. We ended up keeping her around here. And it was fun to have the puppies, and it was a good little extra income. That really wasn't our goal, but it worked out that way. The problem was Zeus, being an intact male Great Pyrenees, it just increased his desire to roam, and so we ended up getting him neutered last year. So he's not too happy. There she comes to attack. Yeah, but sometimes it's just necessary. So here they are. They like to romp around. They stay in this fence good. But I think they're ready for something else to protect. Because right now they just kind of take it out on each other. But yeah, it's the Pyrenees. Gonna get them some food real quick. So this might take me a few minutes. And we're back, and so what you're looking at here, this was our original little chicken coop. It wasn't the prettiest thing in the world. It served its purpose. Had roosting boxes in the back. But as I said, we're getting some netting, and my next project up is we are building a mobile chicken coop. And this is the rough version. This was the quick version. This is actually an old dog house I built a few years ago at our old property. Right now it's just sitting on this old trailer frame that I put a few boards across with some netting for the floor to let the droppings drop through. But we actually found another old trailer frame that we're gonna bring back to life. It'll give a little bit more space. Gonna build them a nice mobile, some folks call it the Eggmobile. We're gonna give them a nice Eggmobile that we will be able to move around easily. It'll have a water catchment system. It will be able to tote the feed around for us also, because we'll still supplement their diet with some non-GMO feed. But yeah, it will just be able it'll give us the chance to really move them around behind the cattle. As you study regenerative practices, that's one of the most popular things, and it's for a reason. Moving your laying hens behind your cattle, one thing it does is it gives the chickens something to eat. When cattle drop their manure, flies love to go lay their eggs, the larvae, inside that manure, and that's where they will eventually grow and hatch out. And that's while your standard cattle farm is covered in flies, because wherever there's the manure, they like to just lay their eggs in there, and they hatch one after the other, and so on. Well, the trick behind running the chick-mobile, the egg-mobile, behind the cattle is, number one, the chickens love fly larvae. So they will actually scratch through the cow manure and eat those eggs. And that's a direct source of protein for the chickens. So that's a win. It's going to give you a higher quality of egg. The other thing it's doing is it's spreading that manure out. The chickens, I don't have any examples right now because there's not really fly larvae in the manure. I'm walking over some where we had the cattle unrolling some hay, but if it starts out that size, the amount of coverage after they scratch through it can double, triple, sometimes quadruple how wide. If it's just a little circle right now, when they scratch through it, it could be this area right here. So over time, it really spreads out that manure, and that's work I didn't have to do with a tractor or with a tool behind a ATV. The chickens did it for me. That's what chickens were made to do. And it also, the X factor, it cuts down on the fly population. So you're still going to have flies, but it will dramatically cut it down, which is also good for your cattle and good for you, because I think they get kind of sick of all those flies in the heat of the summer trying to ride on their backs. So yeah, probably this weekend we're going to mill out some lumber to frame that up, and then I think we're going to do some cedar siding. We have a lot of cedar trees out here, and we've got the sawmill. I'll show you that later, but we're going to mill it up. Real quick, there's a view of the sawmill. Did I say everything's a mess out here? Because everything is a mess right now. Wintertime, and we're just still in the middle of construction and things like that. We had you might have seen it earlier. That's our garage with an apartment over it. We will do a video on that at some point. So many of our friends over the last year have just asked about the details. We do have 3 little kids, and so it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Gets a little cozy, but hey, it put us on our property, so that's where we live at the moment. But it's just been like a construction phase the last almost 3 years now, and it's going to be that way for a while. We're starting from scratch, building a farm, and that's what happens. This building, which is not even close to done, but it's at least got a roof on it right now. Fun story is those trusses were built for our garage, and they were actually built incorrectly. The company was gonna throw them away. I said, whoa, don't throw them away. I'll put those things to use. So this was a heavily wooded area when we first moved out here. This was actually our goat lot. But I was able to cut all of the posts. So those are all white and red oak 6x6, true 6x6s that we had cut. The cool thing to me is that those trees actually grew in this spot where it's standing. I know it's a mess right now, but then we did 3x8 headers, ran those across, set the trusses, and then internally, other than some of the bracing, was just scrap lumber we had laying around. We didn't buy any lumber for this, but if you look up there, all of those lighter colors strips going all the way down. Those are called purlins. Those are all true 2x4 16-foot pine purlins that we cut right here off of the property, and then we milled those. So the only thing we've had to pay for so far has been the metal for the roof. So I'll take it. It's a 30 by 48 right now. We're currently stockpiling some lumber, some materials to, we're going to do a lean-to on each side. And then we'll start with our siding. We're doing some poplar board and batten siding. And yeah, so right now it's kind of in that phase of we're still going to use it since it's a dry spot we can park some equipment. It got really nasty 2 weeks ago. We had an ice storm come through, so actually rigged up that paper and stuff over there, and we brought our cattle up here just to give them something to get out of the elements. They don't have to have it. The area they're in right now, which you'll see shortly, has cover. It's got a bunch of cedar trees and stuff in it that they could get under, but we have some younger calves out, and you know, it was also kind of an experiment just to see what we could get away with those cattle, how we can move them around. And yeah, we had this extra space, so why not give them a place to stay in the dry. But you'll see them here in a minute. I'm gonna go get the tractor started, let it warm up. We're gonna take them some water. So
buddy. Yeah, so this area was one of the areas I've really cleared out recently.
We've been unrolling hay up here. Should have some nice grass. Still have to do quite a bit of thinning. But these are our Irish Dexter cattle. We've got about 21 head right now. We got a couple of cows that are gonna be calving here pretty soon. And we've got, I think there's about 8 others that are recently bred back. So should have a pretty big calf crop come in next year. This is one of our older steers. He likes these rocks. They're all together right now. There's a few more. They're checking it all out. It's Titus. That's our bull. He's young. He's actually pretty big for a Dexter. He's starting to put on some nice mass to him. There's 44. She's about 16 months old, 15, 16 months old. One of our heifer calves. She's curious. She likes to lick the salt off my hand. But yeah, she's a sweet girl. Dexters, if you don't know much about Dexters, check them out. I'd be happy to answer questions. We'll do more videos on them also, but they're a very docile breed. They're smaller, and that kind of goes hand in hand with some of the regenerative practices. The smaller cattle are they're not as harsh on the soil. There's nothing wrong with the larger breeds, but it's just what we've chosen to go with. So yeah, there's a look at them. I'm gonna move this tractor. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. This was our first video. Hopefully we'll do quite a few more. We are slowly starting to get the ball rolling, gain some momentum, just with the farm itself, with actually having some products to sell and distribute around our community. So it's been important for us to be able to educate people on what, how, and why we're doing what we're doing. And I'll get more into that, but just overall, the regenerative agriculture, it's really kind of spoken to me the last couple of years, and really this last 12 months. It just grabs me, and I think it's the right way to farm for us. I think overall it's a win-win-win. The climate change side of things, I get the methane stuff, I get the fight against that, and I think it's, when you break it all down as far as agriculture on the feedlot stuff, feedlots, I don't like feedlots. I love beef, I love cattle. Feedlots are pretty distasteful to me. I don't think that's what God intended when he said, we'll oversee the animals of the forest and of the sea and of the air, and that we have dominion over those things. I don't think he had feedlots in mind, but the cowness of the cow, that's a Joel Salatin phrase again. Letting them live like they should live, on good forage, on good grass, not pumping them full of antibiotics. And some folks feed grain, that's fine, but that's not our goal. Our goal is grass-fed, on good forage, happy animals, happy land, trying to build some soil here over all this clay, and happy clients. Hopefully they'll see the difference when we start being able to sell this beef and the pork. We've got a bunch of poultry that's going out soon that is already spoken for, so we're excited about that. We've done it for ourselves, and I mean, it's undeniable, the difference. So yeah, we just are excited to share all of that, and hope that some of you are able to learn something, whether it's for your own farm and you're digging into this just as much as we are, or if you're looking to buy some of our products and you want to know where they come from, this will be a good way to just keep up with all that stuff. So, thanks for watching, and again, I can't wait to share more. This is a little bit out of my comfort zone, as you can probably see, but I think it's important to educate folks on industrial farming, what that looks like. you probably won't want to buy meat or much of anything from the store if you really dig into that. Just what all goes on into that. But yeah, so thanks again, and we will see you guys soon.